And welcome everyone. Hi, my name is Lisa. I am the creator of the podcasters Clubhouse. Most of you know me from my work on other podcasts like the Church of What's Happening Now or Good Times with Steve Simone. I'm here today, and we're live streaming on YouTube, and I'm also taking questions from Twitter and from Instagram. What I wanted to do is basically just show the site and explain what it is and why I'm doing it. And just take any questions and also give out some coupon codes because I'm very excited for this and I think the better the site is the more people that join, which is one of the reasons why I kept the prices where I did. But I don't want to jump ahead of myself. I want to just jump right in. Let's get this background out of there. And let's do this. Okay, we're right back. We're right on the site now. So this is what you see if you haven't joined yet. And I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who has already joined. I'm very excited to have you. So the Podcasters Clubhouse is a way for podcasters to connect. Because I've been consulting on podcasts I've been working on podcasts for 7 years, and I've been consulting. I've consulted on over close to 100 podcasts, I think. And I started to see a pattern with the questions people would ask, and not only the equipment, which is part of the site, but how to grow a podcast when not everyone has a huge social media following, and not everyone has the ability to have a big name guest on, or to be a guest on a bigger podcast, but they still take their podcast seriously. They still put the work in, the audio quality is where it needs to be, but there's the next step that they were having trouble taking, and this is why I built the site. So it's a couple different parts. I built the site for someone who wants to get into podcasting. I built the site for someone who doesn't know what equipment to buy, hosting, or maybe they even need to have a host. So, I built it for that, but then I also built it for someone who has the podcast established. Been doing it for a little bit, even if it's one episode, and they want to find a way to help grow their podcast, and that's where the community comes in. So what I wanted to do is this is what you see when you first get to the site. It's podcastersclubhouse.com, and this is a little bit spiel about why you should join. And I do want to say for everyone who is out there and being like, oh, I don't know if I want to join yet. That's fine, I get it. There's some free aspects to the site. Our Amazon store is completely free. So this part of the page is for equipment. And one of the hardest things about starting a podcast is to know what to get, because there's a lot of equipment to choose from. And a lot of people don't have any background. I didn't have background with it when I started. And that's another thing I wanted to stress, is that I've built this site through trial and error. This is the equipment that I've used that works. There's equipment that I use that I've bought the wrong equipment. So that's what I want to save you from. So if you scroll down, I have different stores if you're in a different part of the world, because I know that the American Amazon charges shipping. That's crazy. So if you go if you want to just look at audio equipment, I have different packages for people who might just want to have a portable studio, like with this Zoom H6. That the microphone and a XLR cord is all you need in your podcasting. And a little bit more advanced, if you wanted to have a little home studio with a mixer, I have some different options. Now, obviously, this isn't all the equipment you can buy, but it's some of it. It's the ones that I recommend. Same thing goes for video. This is and I understand, and what I in my consultations, what I would tell people is I always recommend starting off slowly. There's no limit to the amount of money you could spend when you're podcasting. So what I say at the beginning is start off slow, and if you enjoy it, upgrade, rather than spend a whole bunch of money right up front. So I have from as low key as a webcam. I also have a tripod just to use your phone and stream it. But the more you go up, I personally like Sony cameras. So I have 2 different Sony options for you. I have different video cards for you. And this equipment is for people who want to stream with multiple actual cameras, as opposed to web cameras. And then this little section is just if you wanted the exact, for everyone who likes the Church of What's Happening Now, this is the equipment that I use specifically. And that you can peruse the site. Go to podcastersclubhouse.com/shop, and you can see the different options. The other part of the site that's available for free is our services page. Now, like I said, I've been consulting. I've consulted on close to 100 podcasts, if not more. And I wanted to offer those services and some of my friends' services as well. So, for example, when you start a podcast, a big question I got was artwork. How do you get artwork? Because iTunes and or Apple Podcasts and every other provider requires that you have professional artwork. So, checking Twitter. So I wanted to provide a service for that. So Michael Klein, and I'm gonna also do another one of these videos with all of the consultants. I want to introduce them to you personally, but I just wanted to show you. I just want to show the site. I want to show you what you're getting for your membership. So this is Michael Klein. He does the Church of What's Happening Now artwork. He does some work for Joe Rogan. He's done for About Last Night. He's made artwork for me. He's a great artist, and he has some services available, from artwork to logo. And this is gonna grow because I want to help podcast professionals too. This is not me trying to get rich. They set their own prices, and they keep the lion's share of the profits. So when you're doing this, you are really helping a professional. This is one I'm really excited about. If you ever wanted to have some professional intro and outro done, or maybe you have some sponsors, like you wanted to add a sponsor read, something like that. This is Kabir Singh, and he's actually, if you have T-Mobile, if you call T-Mobile, he's the voice you're going to hear. He's a very professional voiceover artist. He's worked for Pepsi. He's worked for a lot of big people, and he's offering his services. So I'm very excited about that. And like I said, we're going to do another video with all these people. And the last one is I saved the ugliest for last. Is me, my pretty face, which will pop up here. That's me. I'm offering my services. And then also, more importantly, John Phillips. He works for Be Real TV. If you've seen any of their programming, like the Smoke Box, he's worked on that. So he's offering his services. So that's all there for you, and that's for free. So now I wanted to get into the meat of the site, the membership only site, and I'm making it membership only for a couple reasons. First of all, I don't like ads. I don't want to put ads on the site. I don't want to. I want to keep it professional. This site for me is for people who take podcasting seriously. This is for people who really want to grow their podcast and want to be around people who are just as serious as they are. But here's the thing: when you have a smaller podcast and you don't have the social media and you don't have the ability to have a big name guest on, you also might be in a place where you don't have a lot of people around you who podcast. It's growing every year, but it's still relatively new. So with this site, I want it as a place for podcasters to connect. So whether you're local and you're going to meet in person and be on their podcast in person, or if you're going to do it over Skype or the phone, it opens up your podcasting world. And the best way to do that is to have as many members as possible. So I have two membership options, or two memberships. One for $5 a month, and that is also for $55 a year if you wanted to do it for a year. But since we're starting in June, you're only paying up until December 31st. So all these prices are pretty much cut in half already, for the yearly prices. And for the top podcaster, it's $8 a month or $90 a year. And I have coupon codes for both of those. And I'll go over what the difference is in the memberships. Okay, so I'm just going to log in myself. Okay. So this is what happened. This is how you would get into the site. So I'm gonna go first. Let's go to resources because I'm excited about it. I'll just go right down the list. This is one of the most important parts of the site because, and this is available on every membership. This is a part of the site where I take my favorite articles and videos and how-to videos and news stories, and I put them all in one place. Because when I was starting out, and everyone who uses Google knows, when you use Google, there's 8,000 different opinions, and it's kind of overwhelming with some things. I would prefer it would be a lot easier if to follow one opinion when people are pulling you in every different direction. You almost don't know how to start. So this is what that is. So this is I'm gonna write a blog. I wrote if you wanted to check this out, well you don't really have a choice because I'm taking you around. I made a checklist of everything you should do before you start a podcast, like the checklist as you're starting your podcast. Takes you through buying your equipment and just make sure you're ready and prepared. And that is also this whole section. This is the how to launch a podcast section. This is the same checklist as above. And then simply what I do is I take you through every aspect of starting your podcast. So this is the link that's going to show you how to get your podcast on Apple Podcasts. This is the link that's going to show you how to get your podcast submitted to Google Play. Same for Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And then this one is for people who like nerds like me who like analytics. These are advanced analytics that you have to add to your RSS feed, and I'll discuss that in a little bit. But if you go through that checklist and then use all these blogs, by the end of it, your podcast will be everywhere it needs to be. It'll be set up, and you'll be good to go. Below here, it's just more like these two links right here are two of my favorites actually, and these are more just kind of sort of articles about podcasting. But these two, and I'll show you the more recent one in 2019. They see, I found something I need to fix. Let's see here if I can. This one clicks. There we go. Yeah, I need to fix that one. My apologies. I'll fix that before I put this video out for everyone who's not watching live. They made a slide, and it goes through, and it tells you everything about the people who are listening to podcasts. So this is the awareness of people podcasting, starting off in 2006 at 22%, and in 2018 is at 64%. I'm sure it's even higher in 2019. So I'll fix that link immediately before I put this video out, so only the people who are watching live know my shame. And then going down here, we have the videos of how to use your recorders, how to use the different software like GarageBand or Audacity. I have videos from Tim Ferriss and from Gary Vee, two people who have very successful podcasts. And down here, the last one is news. So just just news about the world of podcasting and what's going on in podcasting right now. Later on, I will have the ability. All those consultants will be writing blogs. So it's gonna have a lot of content there for you, and it's gonna be updated a lot. The calendar, you don't really need to see. It's going to be a calendar of all the events we have. We don't have a lot right now. The one that we do have going into that you'll hear more about down here is the live streams for the top podcaster members. Those will be on that calendar. This is the forum, and this is another. This is something else that all members get access to. So, going back to what I was saying about the most important part of the site is getting podcasters connected, is there has to be a way to do that. And of course we have Facebook, but Facebook, to me, it's been overrun. I don't like all the political messages. I don't like people fighting. And I wanted to separate. I wanted this site to be something that's completely separate from Facebook and from all that foolishness that we have to deal with every day. This is all podcasting. It's all people who are serious about podcasting, and that's why I chose to make it a forum. So when you log on, and since I already have my account, when you first sign up, you're gonna have to log in and make a MUT. MUT is the name of the company that makes this forum. And so you're gonna have to make an account with them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to see this forum. We have a bunch of different channels for you to discuss with people. Like, nice to meet you. So I wanted to have everyone introduce themselves. It's a great way to meet other podcasters. In this section, we're going to talk about podcast equipment. This is one for someone who's looking for guests. And the titles, I left the titles pretty self-explanatory. If you wanted to be a guest on a podcast, and this is good for people also who might not want to start a podcast but want to be a guest. They might have something to promote, or they're toying with the idea of starting a podcast. They want to be a guest on someone's podcast, and this is where you would promote yourself. Here's what if you want to talk about a podcast that you like, because this is obviously, if you're a podcaster, you like podcasts. So this is just, if you want to talk about podcasts, this is normal conversation. I do want to, one of the rules is no hateful or abusive language. I'm going to take that seriously. I want this to be a happy community. I don't want anyone getting in any fights. So let's keep, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but just know that we're going to keep an eye on it. And please be nice to everyone. And this down here is if you wanted to talk with any of the consultants. They're going to have their own little sections, and that's going to grow as we grow, which is why one of the reasons why I'm doing this video is I want this site to be have as many members as possible, so that you get as much, you really get the value from your membership. Let's go back to members. This one is the hosting services. So this is to be able to get your podcast out there. You record it, but then what? You take your audio file, and a lot of people think you'd submit it directly to iTunes or to Apple. And you do. You submit an RSS feed, but you don't upload it. That's the word I was looking for. You don't upload it directly to Apple. There's different services out there that you upload your file podcast to, and then it sends it to all the different providers like Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, all of them. And that is all done through your host. So we do have different codes. I have codes for Libsyn and Podbean. I wanted to include down here, and I must have gotten knocked out of alignment. So I'm going to fix that. That's two things I need to fix. Anchor and SoundCloud. I don't like those. Those are two free options. I've had issues with SoundCloud, and then Anchor has had its own issues. recently. They fixed it, but one of when they first came out, they owned your content in perpetuity, which rubbed people the wrong way. And then they put ads in there. You can have your own ads put in there, but they put an ad for Anchor at the end. To me, I don't like the way it sounds, but it's a good way for people to start as a free option if they want, especially Anchor, because you can do it directly on your phone. The issue with that is it can be kind of a pain in the butt to switch and move your RSS feed so you don't lose your subscribers if and when you want to upgrade your equipment. So I don't personally recommend Anchor, but I wanted to provide it for people who might have questions about it. This is a lot of people's favorite section. It's free downloads. There's a lot of software out there that a lot of your favorite podcasts use, and it's free. So these two up here, Levelator and Audacity, are two audio software. Audacity is editing and recording, and Levelator is more of an addition, and it levels the audio, your raw audio. So it's a great addition to your editing process. And both of these are free. They both work on Mac and PC. Down here are two video. I'm actually using OBS, Open Broadcast Software, right now to make this video. And CamTwist is another option. It's similar. OBS is the standard, but CamTwist offers Mac users a few different options that OBS doesn't. So I personally prefer OBS, but if you wanted to check out CamTwist, that's another option. And I know I'm giving out some of the information right now, but the download links are all in one place. That's the point of this website. So I want everything in one spot. I didn't want to do a Patreon and send everyone all over the internet. I wanted it all to be in one place, and be easy to use. And like I said, the live streams. So the top podcaster members will get one live stream like this a month, at least, if not more. And we're gonna have live Q&As, and you'll be able to see my face. And I'll have other podcasters with me. I'll be able to take questions, which I'm gonna do if you're watching on YouTube or if you're on Twitter or Instagram. I'll be answering your questions here in a second because we're almost through the site. But that's going to be once a month. If you're not a top podcaster member, we're going to sell tickets to those Q&As, and we're also going to sell the back catalog of them. And that's something that top podcaster members will get for free. Is if you miss one or if you sign up after one already happened, you'll get access to the back catalog of them. And the one part of the site that I can't show you yet because we're just starting today, so we didn't have anyone to add. But we now we do. So within the first month, I'll have it out there. Is the member directory, and that's going to be a part of the site where every member who has a podcast will have their podcast listed. So it's a smaller place. It's easier for you to stand out as opposed to the iTunes store or Stitcher, where there's so many podcasts. This is a place where someone can come and find you, and really, you can really highlight your podcast. And I think that's it. That's the majority of the site. And I'm excited. I hope you guys like it. I hope it's helpful. I hope it brings people together. And let's see if I can answer some questions first. Let's see here. So someone named Gary Johnston, asked if this can help people on Twitch. Some of the equipment will be, it can go back and forth, but there's some nuances for Twitch. So it's not exactly for Twitch people, but it can help. And if you're twitching, I think you should have a podcast. So that's a good way to start. Let's see here. And people who are asking if it's a player or a hosting service, it's not. This site is all it's resources. It's resources and social media. Even though social media has kind of a bad connotation, it's It's a way for people to connect. So this is not replacing the church of what's happening now. This is not hosting the church of what's happening now. But this is for all podcasters. What advice would I give for someone starting a podcast? There's a lot of advice that I would give, but something that I would give is be consistent. Is do it, even because when you start out, some people do it every other week. Some people do it a couple times a week. Whatever you decide, is be consistent, because it's people aren't gonna join the first time. They might not listen the first episode that you put out, which honestly is good, because the podcast is only going to get better and better. So the more you're consistent, the more that you're putting it out there, the more it'll grow. And that honestly is the same thing that's going to happen, I'm hoping, with this site. I'm hoping the more that we talk about it, and the more that you guys see it, if you're not ready to join now, that you join in the future, because I really do hope and think it's going to be a great asset to all podcasters. And let's see here. And that's really it. I've gone through the questions, and please leave some questions in the comments. I know that, trust me, and that here's some free advice, and I should have listened. I should take this advice. Is weekends are not a great time to release your podcast. It's always better to release your podcast during the week. One of the reason why I decided to launch the website on the weekend is I wanted people to not be in front of their desk and working, and I wanted to be able to have people be free to be able to do it. But I think it will grow during the week. I think people spend a lot of their time at work, maybe working on other projects. So this site will grow, and I appreciate everyone who's watched. Like I said, I do have some coupon codes for you. If you use the code professional charter, that's one word, professional charter, you get 20% off any of the professional podcaster memberships, and that's the $5 a month or $55 a year. And the other coupon code is for 25% off if you use the code top charter. That's 25% off all the top podcaster memberships. And like I said, you pay entirely through the end of the year. So since we're already almost halfway through it, the 55 turns into closer to 25 or 27, and then I'm offering you 25% off of that. So I hope the prices are fair. I think they are. I hope you guys like the site. If you wanted to email me, lee@podcastersclubhouse.com or info@podcastersclubhouse.com. I'd love to answer any questions you might have about the website and about the memberships, and I hope to see you guys soon as part of the site. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate everything, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.